Welcome. Very windy here today. Got two great teams warming up right now.
There is the home team, Masterclass, from all corners of Ireland, facing off a Canadian team, StellO.
Yes, StellO, mostly players based in Ottawa with, I think there was one player that lives in Africa on their team.
That's right. Different countries, we were told. We have surely a windy game on our hands, as the weather has not been rainy today so far, which everyone is very, very excited about.
Now that you've said it, though.
Now that I've said it, of course, we all know the commentator's curse. On the other hand, I don't know what's worse, if it's the wind or the rain. It is pretty cold as well. So difficult conditions to start off with, but it only can mean one thing: it can only get better.
That's for sure.
So we're starting you off with a few frames from the opening ceremony. Here's the Irish flag.
Home country. Got quite a good crowd, actually, despite the wind.
The pitch here at the University of Limerick, the main pitch, is situated in sort of a dip, or what should I call it?
A bowl. They call it the bowl.
The bowl, that's right. And it is accurate because there's beautiful green hills around it where fans who are not afraid of the weather conditions can sit down and enjoy.
We've had one of the presentations from the opening ceremony there.
That's right. We've also had the mayor of Limerick, of course, making an appearance, trying to throw a disc with several ultimate celebrities of the Irish scene, such as Liam Grant, who is one of the directors involved in running of this tournament. We will mention more and more games from the organizers later on, but right now we have the first 7 players from each team line up against each other on the pitch.
Looks like we have StellO coming down on defense with the disc in their hand, ready for the pull. Masterclass starting on O.
I would not be surprised if this was a zony game.
Yes, it looks like StellO will be giving an upwind pull here.
I feel like I have the wind everywhere, so it's very hard for me to assess what the direction is. But
this is true.
In fairness, there are all the countries' flags right opposite to our commentator booth. So we will be able to tell you, and you're exactly right, the pull will be going upwind. So no side wind for the teams. So it might be a matter of which team actually manages to score the point upwind. Jen Kwan raises her hand together with Fiona Myrna, getting ready to receive the pull, which is quite short and barely reaches the half of the pitch. But given the wind conditions, that's what we're gonna take. Myrna to pick up, goes directly to Melvin on the sideline. The Canadians going for a match D, and a first sort of deep shot goes up. I think that was to Veriker.
Yeah, I think that was McMorrow that threw up that. Good effort on that. Couldn't quite connect, though.
Not a bad choice to try to hit somebody in the end zone straight away, but now the Canadians will go the other way. So they set up in a vertical stack. Not much going on there. The thrower doesn't like the options, and there seems to be a call, looked like a foul to me on the mark.
Yeah, it looks like it coming in at 0 there.
So a good reset. They get it off.
Nice grab.
To Dunbar. A nice layout grab by Brown. She's now stuck on the sideline, but gets it to Dejanay. And a high disc collected by Myrna. And she will put up another floaty hug. Who's underneath?
Ooh, nice grab.
They collected, that's Kwan. Looking for options downfield. She has no mark so far, and a pick will be called.
So the signal for a pick in the WFDF rules is the 2 hands out to the side like a strong man arm pose. So you can tell when a pick is called quite clearly from the sidelines when that kind of arm signal goes up.
And the disc gets moving again. Not too much pivoting there. She tries to get it to the break side, but eventually finds Myrna on the dump. Oh, and a lefty backhand is well read by Canadian defense. And we'll go the other way. Dunbar. She has the disc again, goes for the break, but this time Melvin is on the other end. She wants the hook yet again. There is a player underneath, but the wind pushes it out of bounds. But this is quite a favorable starting position for the Irish defense now. If they can defend straight there and prohibit the first pass. I was so wrong calling this a zone game. Look at them teams sticking with match D.
Yeah, absolutely. And StellO has had a hard time so far getting it out of their half. So this upwind push is really making it difficult for them.
A nice breakthrough. Sales and Brown is underneath. She gets it. That's Jacques now looking for the dump. She gets it off eventually. They swing it nicely to the middle. A lefty backhand into the space. Ooh, great grabs, great straight throws. I think that's Dunbar on the far sideline now. And she misses the upline just by a few centimeters.
Yeah, that was the first time that StellO managed to get it out of their half, though. So Ireland's playing a bit of a game of a huck and D right now.
They center the disc. Kwan now gets the undercut and goes for the deep shot. Melvin is underneath, but it is too far again. But honestly, not a bad option. The player did have separation, but these hucks, the wind keeps pushing them down. They do have the right edge on them for sure.
Yeah, it's been quite difficult to read in the wind, but it's not a bad strategy, trying to keep the disc at that end of the field.
That's right. Comenda picks up for Canadians. They swing the disc sideways. Dunbar now working with Brown. Dunbar again for the upline, and it's another high disc taken by the wind.
Mick Morrow knocks that out of the air there.
Myrna
immediately strikes.
Myrna with a nice break. That's very Kerr. Oh, and here it is. Is that a
Did she
score?
toe it in?
Looks like it's called out of bounds. Yeah. Brown now. In the corner. She will go for the deep shot. Myrna is underneath. But it was McKee with the defense.
And another turn here.
So obviously, quite a few turnovers were expected. So this is no wonder with this amount of wind. Both teams working quite hard on these cuts and passes. Oh, and this backhand was a thing of beauty. Oh my God! Are they almost in? They're just shy of the end zone. Are they gonna get there? Oh my
no.
God, so close.
Oh.
Dunbar unable to, well, I think she read it quite well, but it was just out of reach. The wind pushing it away from her. That was so close.
Two players alone on StellO in the end zone there, and the wind just took it right out of reaching distance.
That's right. StellO was very close to a first break of the game there. The Irish go for a regular flat stack.
Oh.
And a poach from Hogel. Green. Puts the disc back to the hands of StellO. Green again. Working with Comenda. Oh, and a beautiful lefty inside. StellO shy of the end zone. One more pass. And here is the break. And that's a break with a break. The break for a break.
Very nice
Comenda with
break.
the assist.
Yes, Jesse Brown for the score in the end zone. StellO having a difficult time, many turnovers in that point, but finally managed to close in and finish that point.
Now that is of course unfortunate for the Irish to lose the downwind point there, that sort of easier, let's say, downwind offense. But it looked like StellO weren't going to
They came out fighting.
They weren't going to let themselves be affected too much by the wind, I would say, in a sense that they would adapt their game too much to it. They just really stuck to their precise, snappy passes with lots of spin, and I think that's what got them the first break of the game. Only 9 minutes or 8 minutes for the first point of the game.
Yes, and looks like the wind is not letting up at all, and Ireland are going to have their chance at working it upwind this time.
Hopefully they will do just as well as the defensive line of StellO. We have another 90 minutes of this game, the time cap being 100 minutes here at the World Championship, with a half, of course, at 8 points, or the time cap. A pull, again, not that far, given that it was downwind, but who knows, we're not on the pitch. Ooh, and a deep shot goes up straight away. Who's gonna read it better? Oh my God,
Whoa.
So close.
Right through the first zone that we've seen, despite the wind.
So Nyler was there, and for the second effort. Irish sideline getting loud, and an overthrown disc secured by Mahoney, sorry, and a good read by Pugh. Leahy goes to Costello. Oh, a great push through on the up line, but this one is a bit too far.
Ireland playing that Huck game again right off the bat. It looks like the deep shot is the first thing they're looking for.
Deep shot by StellO, sails out of bounds pretty early, so I think the game is going to resume a lot closer than the final destination of the disc.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like they're bringing it up quite a ways, almost never in at that one. Ireland with a pretty good shot, about 20 yards to the end zone.
O'Mahony with the disc, centers to Leahy. Leahy looking for opportunities downfield. Pretty shut down defense, match D from StellO. As we see the defender there trying to get downfield quickly for the quick break, quick deep shot. StellO goes the other way with a opening break, high release lefty. Dunbar with a low throw, push to the ground. Now a slightly better starting position for the Irish, who in my opinion start pretty deep. Oh, and a great bid. That was Costello, Aideen. And a lefty, big hug for StellO. Unfortunately, a bit too far.
Sailed right out the back of the end zone.
Comenda, the already mentioned player from StellO who spends most of her time in different African countries, currently Nigeria, is it, Charlie?
Yes, Nigeria. Yeah, she's one of the older players on the team at 55.
Wow, impressive. Dunbar with a D. Canadians in the last third of the pitch. Seems like they're running their end zone play pretty smoothly, and a nice around backhand for the score. Second break of the game for StellO.
Yeah, I can't quite tell who caught that. Did you see?
I did not, as it was pretty far and our screen, but we're surely going to find out eventually.
Both players definitely, or both teams, pardon me, really having to kind of figure out and judge the wind and adjust their throws accordingly. It's I don't envy them having to throw in this wind.
Me neither.
Definitely a rough day out there for that.
Trust me, if you're judging any of the performances on your screen right now, you should not. The camera doesn't do the conditions justice whatsoever. I think the players should be commended just for wearing shorts.
This is true. It is a very chilly day out here today.
So a nice replay of the last point. A good end zone game.
Just a nice OI around that Ireland defender right into the back corner there.
So we get ready for another chance of the Irish going downwind. Myrna picks up, finds Melvin, but the disc slips out of her hand despite her Eurostars gloves. And Boulanger picks up straight away. Ooh, and a high forehand, almost read by the intended receiver. Kwan goes to Melvin, but again, discs just has its own will. Or her own will, really.
Yeah. Well, often players, you just think a quick flip pass to the next handler coming up might be easy, but not enough spin on that disc and the wind just takes it, flies it.
Boulanger centers. She gets the discs again. Beautiful inside flick break to Zhao. Boulanger has it again. She will go for the around, but that one is a bit more difficult in these conditions than the nice snappy flick that you can put lots of spin on. Myrna tries a backhand of her own, but on the other side of the pitch, it might float a bit better, but unfortunately to no one.
That was a really nice looking break, though.
That's right.
I keep wanting to call Anne Boulanger and Mercier. Some of you might know her as that. Played for World Games Canada team in 2018. Now is Anne Boulanger with the disc.
But she needs to realize that them backhands they will be really, really difficult. So now the Irish right in front of the end zone. Myrna's looking for Melvin for the isolation, but there was a poach on her as well. But will she get there this time? Yes, she will, and that's a score for the Irish. First one in the game, and the crowd cheering, getting wild for the home team.
Yeah, that was a really nice break. Looking for Sarah Melvin right there, open on the break side. She had quite a couple of yards there from her defender, so it was a really good spot. Nice around break, and going to that side of the pitch as well. The kind of the high side makes the disc go a little bit flatter over there, so it doesn't take a little bit of the wind.
Yeah, props to the Canadians. The first efforts of Melvin in the front of the stack were covered by a poachy D, but then the defender retreated to their own offensive player, and Melvin was free to score the point. Of course, Myrna and Melvin, very well-known names, not only in Irish, but of course also European Ultimate, given that Liam Grant and Lorcan Murray do all the advertising for Irish Ultimate in all channels of broadcast. Of course, Melvin being at least a 2-time Eurostars, I believe. Both known for playing with the Dublin team Gravity. However, I believe Myrna appeared last week at Windmill with a newer Irish team called the Flame.
Ooh.
So a tight game so far. Of course, the Irish falling behind by 2 breaks right at the start. Oh, and a rolling pull needs to be stopped, not to roll all the way back towards the end zone.
I don't even know how far I could pull in this wind. It's
We will have to try during halftime.
yeah.
Boulanger picks up. And a bit of a zony or poachy look from the Irish. Boulanger gets it back from Hartley. Hartley in the middle now. Working with Boulanger. They find the gap in the cup. Oh, and that's a thing of beauty. A nice floaty backhand. That side needs to be more protected because clearly the throws to that side are a lot easier than some other options.
Yeah, that was Lee with the nice backhand over there. Again, I didn't see who caught it. It was a bit far away, but
We will get our stats in eventually.
yes. But yeah, getting the disc over to that high side it seems like it's been a real key point in scoring points in this game. So teams should probably be looking to continue to do that.
So Zhao with the assist.
Oh, pardon me, that was Zhao with the assist.
And somebody else with the score, but quite an easy downwind point for StellO.
So there are 13 children of StellO's watching the game from the stands today.
Are they really though? Aren't they in the kindergarten that the tournament set up for the parents? I mean for the parents as in for the kids of the parents.
That's a fair point. But StellO has 32 children amongst the team.
That is
total.
incredible effort. And honestly, from talking to these Canadian ladies before this game, I can tell you right now that the best way to get back into Ultimate after kids is probably to be married to an Ultimate guy.
They do have a lot of husbands on the male team from the same place here.
A huge flick goes up from Kwan. Doesn't find the intended receiver, but the Hakandi tactics could work from that corner as Brown picks up for StellO. That's a nice backhand to Dunbar. Oh, and a high disc is saved.
That's a nice grab.
By Desjardins. Desjardins with a cheeky lefty backhand. And now a big put is stopped by Vericker. And another chance for the Irish. Myrna finds Kwan. And Kwan has a wide open McMurrow downfield, but that's due to a pick.
Yeah, it looks like the players are just discussing what stall count to come back at. So after a pick, it usually will just come in at the stall that it was called at.
That's right. Kwan wants the deep shot, doesn't take it, goes to Melvin instead, and she has that backhand, but it's, again, not the perfect spin on it. It went far, but it was curving away from the receiver.
Yeah. McMurrow tries to toe it in, couldn't reach it, just out of reach there.
And it seems like it went out of bounds again a lot sooner than we thought. So StellO with only a half a pitch to work with. An aggressive upline cut gets overlooked, but the other one works, and here is the big backhand, curves the wrong way. It's almost impossible to throw the backhand in any other direction than what we have seen that worked before in the previous points for the score kind of on the far side of the pitch. Otherwise, you really just have to work with the forehands. That was a zippy little thing. Vericker was really trying to focus on that catch, but it was just too snappy. Komenda picks up for StellO. Good pass to Dunbar. Dunbar looking for the upline, doesn't take it, but gets the break off eventually. And StellO working through the break side, just shy of the end zone. And they take a timeout. Dunbar, expert move. They're very close to getting their third break, I believe, of this game. Upwind, they really just need one good decisive cut or a nice set play with good throws.
Setting up here on the low side of the pitch, so they're going to have to put an upwind throw in to get that in. And we're just going to take an ad break here real quick.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
Okay, looks like it's starting to set up on the pitch again. So offense has to set up first after a timeout. So StellO will set up first, then they have to freeze. Once they've taken their position, they're not actually allowed to move anymore until the disc is tapped in from the defense. So Masterclass will get to set up their defense after StellO has set up offense.
Which will be very hard not to move in this weather. You stay still for 5 seconds and you might freeze to the grass.
Speaking of, I think I just felt a little bit of rain on my face there. Did you feel that?
Yes, I'm
pretending.
I'm pretending it's not happening. So Dunbar is looking for the reset. She finds one. Now it's green. She'll take the reset again happily. They're just looking for a good option to open up. Bit of poaching from the Irish. But now Commenda. Big fakes. She's got that lefty break that not too many people expect. Oh, here's a floaty disc, but a nice aware defense by the Irish. That was McKee with the defense. Kwan on the sideline. StellO doing a better job preventing them big hucks, but Kwan takes one anyway, eventually.
Yeah, it looks like it was a stall 9 huck, and StellO is actually calling a stall down on that.
And it looks like it might be contested.
Yes, yeah, it's a contested stall. So the tapping of the head is the signal for a stall down count. And then the fist bumping yourself in the middle is the sign for contesting. So when you see the fist bump followed by the head tap, that's a contested stall down.
Of course, the players here at, just like at any other WFDF events, have game advisors at their disposal on the sideline. We have 2 of them at this game. You might see them in the green jerseys. We have maybe even 3. Back to the action on the pitch. StellO again trying to work patiently. Shorter passes upfield. I see them looking to the break side a lot. Commenda now tries to find the continuation through the break side, but eventually goes to green. Green, of course, easy to remember with her green cleats, but the disc is out of hands of Dunbar. Kwan really wants the deep shot, doesn't have one, but they do oh! That's an unfortunate drop for Melvin. She went for it with one hand, and McMorrow's shot will be in vain.
Yeah, it looks like they're playing quite a different game here. We've got the Canadians working those short break passes up the field, whereas Ireland looking for the deep shot quite frequently.
I think one of the reasons could technically be that the Canadians are going upwind.
Yes.
So honestly, whoever is playing downwind and not using the deep shots, I wouldn't really call that smart, but then again, everyone knows how much I like a big gunshot.
Well, that's definitely something we have in common there then.
So, yeah, you will hear us praising some good deep game throughout this week, I think. In the meantime, 2 more turnovers occurred, and StellO goes the other way with Dunbar stuck on the sideline. I don't want to say stuck because look at that nice dump that she gets off, and they even get off the swing. That is Dejanay now with the disc. Goes for the high release, and it's almost collected by Jacques. But the disc wobbles out of hands. Myrna now. I'm liking the ginger matchup here. Myrna and Dunbar. And a violation call immediately. As it seems like Myrna brought in the disc sort of not in a straight line to where it landed.
Yeah, so when it goes out of bounds, the disc has to be brought in a straight line back to the pitch where it crossed the line, and so it looked like she just took a couple of extra yards there instead, so a violation or a travel was called there.
That's right. Players barely hearing each other on the pitch, surely, due to the wind, so there's no discussion regarding tactics. The Irish moving the disc sideways. Veriker with a high release backhand to Myrna, right in front of the end zone, and Melvin was there, was ready for the catch, did try to hug the disc, but it still jumped out of her hands eventually.
Yeah, it's just you never know in this wind. Even the slightest wobble can make the catch a little bit more difficult.
But Melvin takes the disc right back, passes it to Kwan. Myrna now in the center. The Irish go for the shorter pass. It's not a bad call. Myrna tries to jump it in, and she does. We see lots of hand signals for the score, and that's another one on the board for Masterclass, 2-3.
So Masterclass is actually the very first Masters women's team in Ireland. So that's pretty exciting to see them getting to play in this opening game here. We actually even have the player Laura McMorrow. She started the very first women's team in general in Ireland, and they played back in 2010 in Prague, your home
That's
country.
right. I was there volunteering.
I was actually there as a player that year,
There you go.
so we were
But
all
I'm in
there.
a sockeye video, though.
Oh.
That gets me some credit with the younger players on my team because I'm the oldest one on my club team. And they saw me in the Sockeye Prague experience video, and now I'm cool again. Anyway, yeah, that's really exciting that some countries with smaller nations in general are able to pull off a Masters team. It is really fun to enjoy some playing in your own category for once. Of course, me being in the Masters category, I have a lot of sympathy and
me
excitement for it. Now back on the pitch, the Irish set up in their zone look as well. It looks like a bit of a, a zony
looks
look.
like an FSU maybe, or a double sluff.
That's right, yeah. Rio working with Boulanger again. And
That was a nice layout D.
that I missed because it was right behind our camera setup. So
It was Costello with the layout D there.
and a deep shot, attempted deep shot, turns short but is collected. Fossum. Oh, that was so close. Again, O'Mahony tries to go straight for the end zone, but the disc gets messed with by the wind. Oh, and this was an almost D,
That was a lovely read.
but now a mismatch of the number of defenders and O players. But they do have time to adjust. Boulanger takes the reset, but gets the disc back again. She'll go for the nice forehand through the first cup. And a good heads-up defense on that floaty disc by Hosp.
Yeah, you have to really be paying attention to that flick of the wrist every time you throw, even if it's just a little short one, because as we can see here, it just gets picked up by the wind and it's gone.
It was Nyler, I'm sorry. One of the youngest players on this Masters team, still 29 years of age. Lots of sideline help from both teams. Try to point out open players to both offense and defense. Ooh, and that was a nice slicey backhand.
Trying to get it to that high side, as we've seen, that is the popular place to score right now. Ireland's nice FSU zone, though, it looks like they're putting up kind of a straight up force in the middle, forcing the disc to the outside of the pitch, so that the wind can really, using the sideline to help them get a turn there.
So another pick stops the play. StellO relying on their match D with a little bit of help once in a while from other players, so kind of help defense but still sticking to one-on-one. O'Mahony gets it to the sideline. To Fossum. Oh, and another wobble disc. That was Suleimani, the intended receiver. But in the meantime, Boulanger will work with her teammates in handling. And another big shot just out of bounds. So we see the not dotted but lined 3-meter line where actually no players are allowed. So even the teammates have to respect the 3-meter line to really provide enough space for the players and not intervene with the play on the pitch. But obviously this was a difficult corner for the Irish to get out of, and it results in another turnover, and Boulanger is already calling the end zone play.
That's got to be the most difficult corner to get out of on the pitch.
So we see a very spread out setup and a scooper, which under normal circumstances would have been the perfect ending to this point. Unfortunately goes somewhere else for a walk, maybe. Downtown Limerick, city center Limerick. It is, we realize it is difficult to watch, but we also need to realize that these games are the games where the differences between great teams and above average teams can be minimized.
Yep.
Because honestly, it's so hard for everyone. The luck could go either way. So what you're seeing on your screens really doesn't say much about the level of these teams. And in the meantime, we finally get a score. Canadians reel it in.
That was Verney with the score there.
Going up 4-2 with this downwind point. And a timeout is called on the pitch. And with a big thank you to our volunteers.
Yeah, we have 120 volunteers here from 20 different countries that have all come together to make this event a success.
That's right. So we will leave you with some highlights and replays.
That's exciting to know. We have 20 countries from volunteers are from. So we've got
Hello and welcome back to the opening game of the World Masters Club Ultimate Championship in not so sunny Limerick so far. We have the home team from Ireland, Masterclass, facing off StellO from Canada. We've been in this game for almost 40 minutes. The low points on the scoreboard only reflect the weather conditions that we have here right now that are barely visible on the camera but very much felt by us in the commentary booth as well as by the athletes on the pitch and on the sideline. It is very, very windy. It is a little bit rainy and it is quite cold. Troy.
I am shivering here. I don't envy the players on the pitch wearing shorts at the moment, or those without gloves. I think I might have to pop over to the VC tent later to see if they've got any gloves for sale, because I think I would like some of those.
Extra lining though, make sure to get the extra lining. So the story of this game, the Canadians managed to get 2 breaks early on with some patient, snappy upwind passes. But Masterclass staying in the game, employing a bit of huck and D, but also not staying far behind with some nice breaks. They will go downwind again, and it's crucial, I think, for these players to really remind themselves before every point what throws are okay and which are less okay, really.
Well, in the last point, we definitely saw Ireland having difficulty getting out of this corner, so let's see how StellO does now.
That's right, and a lefty throw from Comenda. She's a lefty player, which could be an advantage because you can place lefty players in specific positions to get you out of them tight spots where other players might struggle. But Canadians give it back, and Kwan with a call on what could potentially be a point or a score. There'll be a little bit of a discussion. Let's have a look at the replay there. So this will be a matter of, did Kwan have enough possession?
Yeah, you need to fully stop rotation of the disc in order to call that a strip or a foul. It looks like she withdrew the call.
That's right, so another turnover. Comenda starts from almost the same spot as a while ago. And this time the backhand finds its way to Dunbar's hands in the middle. Dunbar goes for the upline, and that's another wobble.
So hard to catch those discs, it looks like.
100%. I see the players really focusing on keeping their eyes on the disc and really trying to secure that catch, but it's just effort, as the Irish would say, effort. StellO, go the other way. Comenda with a little miscommunication, I believe. O'Mahony with a nice forehand. This one floats, but maybe not so much expected by McMorrow.
And StellO find themselves in the unfavorable corner again. But they managed to get it off quite nicely last time. They had a lot of spacing set up in their vertical stack there. A couple of cuts coming at once, giving several options for that player. So we'll see if they can do it again.
Now that I'm thinking about it, though, if the Canadians want to keep going through the break side, I would put a right-handed handler into that corner, actually. But look at that. Another miscue. Dunbar was there for the save, but unfortunately. O'Mahony, that's nice. That's a nice high release for Melvin, and she reels it in, keeping her feet in. The defense unable to get there on time, and that's a score for the Irish. Staying close, 3-4.
Yeah, using that upside of the field or the high side again is that's basically where all the points have been scored, going downwind. Really good strategy to try to get that break off and get over to that side.
So Sarah Melvin, 173 centimeters, that is, whatever that is in feet. Current city, Dublin, obviously, only 30 years of age. So again, right on that age limit for Masters category. Her national experience is quite impressive. U23 on Ireland mixed in 2015. I played against her twice actually, and she was just a machine for that team. She played beaches in 2015 for Ireland, again for mixed team 2016, and of course she was one of the players, together with several other ones on this Masterclass team, who won gold at EUC in Győr, Hungary in 2019. And this is a decent pull by Myrna.
Well, it hasn't gone out the back of your own end zone yet when you're trying to pull
That's
it.
right, that's right. we have still yet one of them to come. Boulanger picks up a nice flick break to Zhao. And a dangerous backhand off the sideline. Hartley now. Good high release. Canadians working patiently through the Irish zone. They are actually just shy of the end zone. We don't have the best angle here, but they are very close and really only need one slice through the cup.
If there's one thing that can tell you how windy it is, it's how close to the end zone StellO is, and Masterclass is still playing a zone D on them. You don't see that very often.
I actually see it very often. We played all the time with my team, but otherwise you don't really see it very often, it's true. But look how it's startling the Canadians. It's taken them a while to put that last one in. And here it is, of course, just as I say that, that's Zhao with another score for StellO. Lots of quick short passes. They eventually bring it in. But honestly, for a downwind point, the Irish defense is doing a good job slowing StellO down.
Yeah, we've got about 6 players from StellO will be playing later this summer with Stella, the senior team from Ottawa, in Cincinnati at World Clubs.
I personally find that incredibly impressive that people are able to do 2 such big peak tournaments almost in a row, really, and raise their children while doing that. You know, it's incredible. I believe one of the players on StellO has 3 kids and 2 of them are twins. Is that right?
Yeah, number 6, Samantha Green. She's got 3 kids, twin 5-year-olds and a 7-year-old. And she was back on the pitch just 10 weeks after having her twins.
How incredibly impressive are these Masters women. Like, I can't deal, Troy. Anyway, with a pull comes Samantha Green herself. But she's gonna go back because the Irish team did not have their hand up as a sign of readiness. Now this is a nice pull because it goes behind the halfway line. And McKee picks up, and a deep shot goes up immediately. Almost a good read by Veriker.
It almost looked like she gave up on it for a second, but then the disc hung in the air, and so
that's right,
realized
yeah.
She had a second chance.
And she had to go around Zhao, I think, around the defender. Oh, that wasn't Zhao, that was Ing. Rachel Ing. Regardless, StellO goes the other way, yet again. Who else to pick up for them than Comenda? Oh, and a great read from Dunbar. Goes back to Comenda, who tips the disc, but it rolls off her fingers. Another chance for the Irish. O'Mahony. Ooh, and a run through D by Green. Comenda to Green. Back to Comenda. Hartley now. And high disc. Oh, and a last minute, last second defense by Verker. Melvin is streaking deep. Figured she was too far, so she cut back as the disc went up, of course.
Yeah, a little miscommunication there on the Irish team, but they're still sticking with their huck and D game, which isn't working out too poorly for them, really.
That's right. Not that the point difference really matters much in these games, I don't think, for now. It's probably only about winning or losing, but you can never be wrong sticking close and hope for the best. Oh, that's an excellent catch by Dunbar. Good awareness. Comenda now. Back to Dunbar. I keep repeating a lot of the same names. Clearly, the handlers know exactly what they're doing, sticking around the disc, making sure that they distribute it around the pitch. Dunbar gets slow for that catch, but again, disc ends up on the ground.
Again, has to walk it back where the disc crossed the out of bounds line.
O'Mahony will go for the flick, and that has a really nice rotation on it. Would that be called in? Yes, it will. Lots of wobbling. But McMorrow with the score, and Masterclass staying close to StellO 4-5. That had a really nice edge on it, I thought, because it had to go directly into the wind, kind of, and that needed a lot of snap to go the way it went.
It looked like even StellO was kind of hedging their bets there, thinking it might not get there, that being a very difficult place on the pitch to actually catch the disc and actually throw to. And so it had to go right around that defender, finding McMorrow right in that back corner there.
For a little cuddle.
Now with all these moms that we've got on StellO, we have 3 moms as well on the Irish team.
Very good. A little bit behind, but I'm sure it's not going to take long. It is a very Catholic country after all. We do see the stands emptying out, surely not due to the weather or the performance on the main pitch, but mostly the reason being that there's other games coming up today, which some of them will be streamed, of course. So check out our schedule on our WFDF YouTube channel, where all the games are going to be streamed throughout the week.
For free.
For free, that's right. And a quick turnover on the pitch right now.
Looked like Belanger just couldn't quite hold on to it.
Hold on to this, that's right. So Myrna picks up immediately to go the other way. That was Hinwood.
So the hands out like that to either side, that means not contested. So it looked like there was a foul, and then she did not contest that, so disc is returning.
So Hinwood finds Myrna. Hinwood is being poached, but they go for the backhand. Fossum now with a high backhand. Finds Prendeville on the sideline. Hinwood in the middle. It's Fossum again, but a call on the field will stop the play.
I feel like it was a travel call. So the 2 hands, much like the basketball travel call, the 2 hands in the middle rotating around each other.
Fossum gets the disc anyway, and this is high, but safely brought down by the Canadian defender, Hartley. And a deep shot goes up. That's a nice one. But I believe Sparks was trying to look over the wrong shoulder there to really see where the disc was going. And this is a very high one. Myrna waits for it in the back. She gets the disc again, and I think this was a defense by Sparks. And I think the intended receiver in the end zone either slid or tripped over something on that catch, because we're gonna see the defense here.
That was a nice little foot block.
That's right. So Irish again have to work their way upwind if they can do it and get the much needed break in this game, but no, StellO can't reach that high backhand. We're seeing some pretty athletic plays. They're just not getting rewarded much, unfortunately.
It is so hard to get the disc off of this end zone line right now. The rain has started as well as the wind. It's cold.
So Hinwood will try her luck. Goes for the backhand to Soleimani, but that was just release way too high for it to really get anywhere. Boulanger again working with Hartley, and another disc pushed to the ground. Myrna will want to chuck it, and she does, but unfortunately not far enough. Boulanger has Ryu, but goes to the break side, which normally would be a good call, but that corner I think is slightly more difficult to get out of. So yeah, if they can swing the disc this way, which is exactly what they do, that's a much better idea. And they almost get a nice continuation into the end zone for Polowick.
Ireland in the hard corner now.
Myrna with a floaty forehand. And now the Canadians really just a step away, one push pass away, and it will be a backhand to the back of the end zone. StellO holds and go up 6-4.
So, interesting thing about StellO is it was a few years ago, I believe one player turned 30 and they were having a party in Mont Tremblant in Quebec, and on the chalet on the side of the mountain they all signed a contract to play a Masters team, and they've all spread out and played for other teams in the meantime, but they came back, and the reason that they're all here is because they signed that contract.
A pre-COVID promise. But honestly, is there a fancier way to start a team than in a chalet?
I don't think there is.
If you have fun stories to share about how your team started, or you just want to say hi to some of your favorite players, either playing right now on the field or later on in the tournament, or you just want to engage with us and tell us what a great job we're doing, please do hit us up in the YouTube comments. And the other way to reach us would be, for me, on Instagram at RachelKA5, and Troe, you're
at TroeW, so that's TROEW on Instagram.
That's right. So feel free to hit us up. I believe we are nearing halftime, or it's halftime right now, actually. So that means we will have. That means we're at time cap halftime, and there is a 7-minute break. So feel free to get some refreshments. And for now, we're checking out.
Wonder if there's hot chocolate.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back after the halftime at the main pitch for the opening game of the World Masters Club Ultimate Championship. Here in Limerick, we have Irish Masterclass fighting their way against StellO from Canada.
StellO is from Ottawa, which is actually the capital city of Canada.
Ottawa. Am I saying that right?
Ottawa, yes.
Ottawa. You will have plenty of chances to learn different accents on our stream this week. I think we have an English Canadian and a French Canadian, right?
Yes, Etienne, the French Canadian, he will be joining later.
We have 2 American commentators who will introduce themselves later on. Of course, we will have Lorcan Murray himself for the Irish, representing the home crowd, and myself from the Czech Republic with a weird mix of everything. So the first pull of the second half goes up. Canadians start on offense, going downwind, and the Irish come out in their poachy zone as again. Quick passes through. Boulanger being a steady handler for the Canadian offense. Often also on the assist side of things.
It's pretty in character for her.
That's right. Vachon now. Looking for options. Lots of wind, lots of rain. I hope the teams manage at least to keep a bit warm during the 7-minute halftime. And Boulanger unable to hold on to the last disc, and Leahy takes it to Henwood. Leahy gets it again. Goes for the nice inside. That's Nyler. Nyler will look for Leahy again. Just right on the sideline. Oh, that was a bit too high for Pugh. But again, both teams really using this break side, going upwind. Boulanger picks up. She goes for the huck, but Myrna, an experienced deep defender, as well as a steady handler for the Irish offense. Pugh to Lee. Leahy misses Pugh on that upline cut. StellO go the other way. Lots of fakes through the cup, but eventually they go around. Oh, and a nice heads-up D by Pugh. Claire, of course, a big figure for Irish Ultimate, thing involved in lots of admin work as well. I hope I'm not mistaken. Leahy now swings to Myrna. Now they go a bit backwards. Leahy goes for the deep shot. Oh, that was unfortunate. Maeve Ryan went up a bit too early.
Just caught the tip of her fingers there.
That's right. So Vachon will stay back with Boulanger, and call on the field quickly resolved. Disc centered. They try to get around the cup quickly, but unfortunately there isn't much continuation really. In these conditions, it's so hard to adapt your game. But they do keep possession pretty well. Keep swinging the disc. We see a four-handler setup. We see them examine downfield, hoping for a chance for a quick pop through, but we see the sideline saying keep working, as it seems to be the only option to just keep moving the disc around the four handlers. They surely are making the Irish work hard as well on the defense. There are options downfield, but it seems like the Canadians are being very trusting in their handlers and their ability to keep possession and have lots of passes. But of course, as I say that, there's a slight overthrow on the throw to Vachon.
Something the Irish team is counting on to be able to get their chance on O.
Hinwood to Pugh. Pugh with a big forehand. Leahy tries to get there for a second chance, second effort. But Boulanger wastes no time with his big flick, but it will go too far. Not the worst idea though. If you think about, do I want to swing it in the middle of the pitch or by the end zone?
Well, one thing that we can say about Masters teams is typically they're more experienced players by far, and so the decision making is actually usually pretty good, and it's the wind right now and the conditions that are forcing these execution errors.
I wonder when that's gonna kick in for me. The better decision making comes with age. Anyway, thanks everyone who is tuning in from all over the world. Saying hi to our friends to Desde la Linea. As we said, all games will be streamed at the WFDF YouTube channel, so feel free to tune in anytime. There will be lots of action coming in from one pitch until Tuesday, and then we will have 2 pitches starting from Tuesday as the rest of our crew joins us and bringing even more coverage of more teams, more fans, more visibility for Ultimate, more fun for everyone, especially all the people who are enjoying the summery weather back in their home countries. So Canadians find themselves on the disc yet again, going slightly backwards. More rain coming down on the players. Boulangerie tries to aim the huck perfectly, and it's not poorly weighted. It's going in the right direction. It has the right spin on it, but just a bit too far. So hard to assess the right amount of power on all those throws. When you go from short, quick passes, medium swings to deep shots in all directions. Myrna picks up. But the backhand will be called down. And a quick pass, quick pickup by StellO. And they extend their lead to 7-4. Hopefully we will see on the replay who the respective players with the assist and the score were. But again, the Irish doing quite a good job forcing turnovers out of the Canadian team. So that's number 14 with the assist and 18 with the score.
Bernie. Yeah, so that was Vashon to Verney there for the score. Ireland is certainly putting that difficult zone on right now and forcing the Canadians to make lots of passes. So in turn, what that does is there's a lot more opportunity to make a mistake in those passes, which the Canadians are doing from time to time, and Ireland does get those offense chances. Unfortunately, moving the disc upwind is so difficult right now that we're not often seeing a lot of teams pushing that past that halfway mark right now in that upwind direction. As the rain is coming down a bit harder now as well, so definitely just going to be easier from here on in to catch the disc, right?
Yeah, it is just miserable out here. I'm not going to lie to you. For all the fans at home, do feel pity for these players who have to work so hard in this opening game. And the Irish put a big one up for Melvin, and she lays out, but a split second too late comes that dive. So again, we see that Huck and D employing. I do like the spin on those throws. Let's have a look at that again. I think she thought maybe it was gonna come down a bit slower and she won't have to lay out. And then when she decided to do so, it was a bit too late. So again, StellO going the other way. And a difficult throw will be collected by Dunbar. She gets the disc again on the other side of the pitch. Ing gets the continuation. StellO wastes no time. Dunbar fakes the deep shot, doesn't take it. He's activating the handler now. Gets a nice dump cut from Brown. Back to Dunbar. She's really getting every second disc here. And a wide open receiver in the end zone. Can they get there? Yes, they can. And this is unfortunate for the Irish as the StellO get another upwind break on them, jumping off to 8-4, and that might be.
It's really because I said it in the last point, how not many teams, neither team have done a lot of pushing past the half point, and of course, StellO go and prove me wrong by scoring the point in the upwind direction just then.
That's right. I think the Canadians do look a little bit more confident on the disc, but I feel like that is the theme in general with American and Canadian teams. They just have a bit more disc skill than an average. An average American and Canadian player will have a bit more disc skills than an average, elite European player, I would say. So,
well, Ottawa does have a large number of Masters teams coming from that area. So there are quite a number of Masters teams located there, both mixed, open, and women's teams. Whereas we know, as we previously stated, that this is the first and only women's Masters team from Ireland.
That's true. Obviously, lots of the European teams forming ad hoc for these Masters events, as most of these players will still be active in their respective club teams, just contributing maybe to the development side of the communities. But it's, like I said, it's really fun to play in your own rank, in your own category. So now the Irish with the hard task to try to score one upwind. So far they're moving quickly. Melvin now on the sideline will call a foul. She did try to keep her eyes on the disc. And there was a bit of contact. That's of course another thing that differentiates the two continents. The US and Canada being slightly more on the physical side. So it's maybe not surprising that it seems like a contested foul call. So the disc goes back to Pugh.
Yeah, the two players are talking about it there. So the foul signal is the forearms crossing, and then again, the contest is the fist bumping themselves in the middle there, so contested foul.
And the disc slips out of hand on the release for Pew. So green picks up for StellO. And now, of course, a few easy high release backhands could get them just where they need to be. Green gets the disc in the center of the pitch, but it wasn't a bad call, it wasn't a bad look. But the wind just way too strong. So one more chance for Myrna and Masterclass. Good centering forehand. Swing to the sideline. McKee doesn't find Myrna, and another slip out of her hands. Maybe some gloves would have been a bit helpful. Troy.
Some of those friction gloves, you mean?
That's right. Grip for your game. Prepared for rain, humidity, cold, wind, and more. And trust me, there will be more at this tournament. Nice upline for the Irish. Great leading pass, but no continuation, unfortunately. Pew puts up a big forehand. Can they read it? Oh, and it's Melvin who comes down with it. And here it is, an upwind point for Masterclass.
Hang on, there was a call in the play.
Seems like somebody took a hit on that, I don't want to say hospital pass, it was just a very floaty forehand, but it seems like the goal will stand.
Yeah, it was an injury call in the play, so the hands behind the head means injury, which I think in American rules, the disc would have maybe have gone back because it actually would go to when the injury was called. But a lot of players will let that slide if it didn't actually affect the game.
That's right.
And so, which is what we saw here. So that's really good spirit there from StellO, and knowing that that didn't affect the goal at all and letting it stand.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best with rules, and it's an embarrassment with me playing for so long. But I do remember this one favorite rule: the captain, like, regardless of what the rules say, the captains can always agree that they're going to solve a situation differently as long as it seems like a fair outcome to both of them.
That's true. It's called the captain's clause.
That's right. Of course, if you haven't seen the Ruben Burke chat that was released recently by Alta TV, it has lots of interesting insight on the rules and their interpretation. Please do head to YouTube and have a look. I think it's full of really interesting and fun information about the WFDF rules, and definitely a more fun way to broaden or better your ultimate rules knowledge than just sitting by yourself with a thick stack of papers trying to read through it. So now the wind really is picking up. We were telling you it's windy. We were lying. Now it's super windy.
And pouring.
And pouring and freezing. I think we're only missing like mosquitoes or something. So
now that you've said it, though.
StellO with four handlers around the disc, trying to keep steady, and the disc wobbles as the Irish come with a fierce zone, hyped up by that last upwind score, trying to stay in this game. They pick up the disc in the corner where really they could just pop in a nice high release backhand for the score, but of course there will be some Canadian defenders in the way.
I don't know about the high release in this wind, though. High release is a difficult one to pull off.
Lee goes for the upline, and they do it, but of course the experience of Boulanger is very much aware that was what they were going for, and she's just gonna chuck it as far as she can. And O'Mahony with another chance. Ooh, Suleimani was there for the score, but again, too quick, too slicey.
You can see that the rain has picked up just on the camera lens. You can tell there's some droplets there.
I'm loving Ryu waving her hands about 50 meters downfield where no one, literally no one, none of these great experienced throwers can reach her. But you know, we appreciate you, R3. We appreciate the wave. And here's the D. I think that might have been Suleimani getting her hand on the disc. And now Mahni will try her luck once more in the red zone. They're hoping for the isolated play. Now Leahy gets it in the back, but a call stops the play.
That was a pick call again. Quite easy to do when you're stacked close together in the end zone like that.
And Leahy with a nice backhand release, and StellO was there. Yeah, just out of reach again. So, the Canadians examining their options, and Suleimani with another D. But no quick pickup from the Irish. I think that's rather unfortunate, because that could be, you know, the quick turn followed by a quick break could really make it a bit easier for them. But here is Ryan! She gets the score! Oh my God, what a thing of beauty. Maeve Ryan, a dear, dear friend of mine, based in Cork. Wow. What a great score.
Just a little bit of short game there, and then suddenly that big OI coming up to the high, or to the low side of the field this time, actually.
That's right. I think StellO overbit a little bit on the break side, thinking that that's where the Irish will want to go, but look at this beauty, and even backed up by Suleimani. Maeve recovering from a knee injury that she suffered, I think right after COVID started, and I think she did a lot of rehab to really get back in the game, so it's wonderful to see her back on the screen in this opening game. World Championship. We were talking about it with Troy before the game started. Is this the first World Championship after COVID?
I think it might be. This is
Came
the
to
very first
conclusion
one.
that it is.
Mhm.
Yes. Lots of events, of course, getting cancelled.
Very glad this one was a go. So
Very glad.
even though the weather is not proving to be wonderful at this moment in time. But we were talking to the Irish girls before we started. The last time they played on this particular field was all the way back in 2010 at a tournament called the Siege of Limerick, where many of them played in the final that year, which I thought was quite cool to hear, until they also told me that there were only enough players for 2 teams, and so everybody was in the final.
And that's how it should be. I feel like everyone deserves a chance to be in the final. You have to start somewhere. You start 10 years ago with barely enough players to have 2 teams, and here you are at a World Masters Championship in the opening game. Doing great against a Canadian team. Do you also find that there is, of course, like healthy rivalry,
Rivalry.
That's the word, yes. Between club teams and even, club teams, I would say, on the club scene. But when it comes to these big events, it's kind of like, you know, Europe for Europe.
Oh,
and
definitely.
America for America.
Definitely. Yes, you have your rivals during the regular season that you're playing against, and then suddenly you come to a World's Championship and you're cheering for your rivals.
That's right. So the Canadians progressing quickly through the Irish zone. The Irish team proving just a while ago that they're able to score upwind as well. So what they really need is just a turnover out of StellO at this stage. And they do get one. What a smackdown by Suleimani. Kubra again earlier playing for the for the Cork team, Rebel Ultimate, but now based in Dublin. Myrna tries to find Lee, but that is Averny that gets in the way. Boulanger is looking for the deep shot. Decides for the shorter pass, but it will be a turnover nonetheless. The disc slips out of hand of Zhao. Again, surprised how few players on the pitch are wearing gloves.
It can be quite a different experience playing with gloves, though, because it does change the way you have to kind of grip and release the disc, and so
They do say you lose a little bit of the feel, but really, how much feel can you have in these conditions? Seriously now.
well, when if your hands are as cold as mine, then it doesn't really matter how much you can feel the disc.
That's true. In this kind of weather, I probably barely feel, you know, my entire body. So again, Irish going the other way. Myrna swings it. Oh, just out of reach of Henwood. Can't quite secure the disc despite the gloves. Now I don't know what they could do, what more they could do. But this is a nice break and a beautiful last pass in the end zone for the score.
Is that Kaylee Sparks with the score there?
I believe so, number 17, that's right. And that would be, she's had an assist before, for sure. But
She was the one that got the foot block earlier, and then another D later in that same point. So she's thrown up quite a few stats on the board for StellO.
that's right. Troy, I've decided we're going to change our approach to the commentary. I've said that these players are miserable. I've said that these conditions are terrible. From now on, we're just going to call it a challenge and an opportunity to rise up to the challenge. Which means there's lots of space for highlights. There's lots of places for these players to shine. The second half, this last 12 minutes, we're just gonna make them shine.
I don't really know that they are miserable. They do look like they're still having a lot of fun out there despite the cold, rainy, and windy conditions.
That's true. I was having the time of my life last weekend in the windmill finals, and the commentators kept saying that the game is scrappy. I was like, excuse me, that's tactics, and these are precise throws. So what do we know what the atmosphere on the pitch is like? The good thing is that Masterclass is staying in the game, and they're centering to Kwan. And Kwan puts up a deep one for Melvin, who does a great box out against Dunbar there. And that might have been the fastest point of this game.
I think it was. That was a really nice read that Melvin had on that disc there. We keep seeing that OI flick come up to that side of the pitch, and she was able to just get she kind of had a stoppage. She stopped a little bit, paused,
right,
thought
yeah.
that the disc might have been coming down a bit sooner, ended to go a bit farther, which managed to throw her defender off there, Dunbar, and she was able to get that.
Yeah, Dunbar, I think, did the best she could with the height difference there against Melvin, but again, props to Melvin with the box out. She had a nice laugh about it with the girls after, but really a 2-pass point for Masterclass. A quick one that was much needed because now they can really focus on the defense and potentially getting some of the breaks back from StellO. We only have about 10 minutes left of the game time.
Masterclass are really going to need to get another upwind break if they want to even out this score. Those 2 breaks early off in the game from StellO have really showed that may have been the game there. But we'll see what Masterclass can do.
That's true. Thanks again for tuning in on our YouTube channel. Do hit us up on our personal accounts. My Instagram is at RachelKA and the number 5.
And mine is at TroeW, so TROEW.
That's right. Ian French is obviously cheering for Fiona. No surprise there. Lots of Canadian fans as well. some family tuning in, saying hi to the players on the pitch. And here's a nice opener from Boulanger, working with Hartley. Hartley gets off the up line to Vachon. Vachon just shy of the end zone. And look at that open forehand. A wobble, but it's still a grab.
Great concentration there from
Zhao.
Zhao, yeah.
Zhao with another score. As of now, we have 1 block from her and 2 goals, so this might be the 3rd one.
Yeah,
Good
you really
stuff.
need to have that good concentration on that disc with this wind, and then another Irish player running through, maybe even getting a piece of that, and she still managed to come down with that in the end zone. So kudos to Zhao there for that catch.
So that wasn't the defense I think the Irish were hoping for there. They really need to put a lot more pressure and force the turnovers. Ideally in the second half of the field, as in closer to the end zone that they're aiming for. Because right now they just are forced to score another point and keep scoring. The rain has calmed down again.
For
slightly. Wind is still there.
It is actually forecast to rain most of the week, unfortunately, but hopefully other days it won't be combined with this horrid wind as well.
Kwan signaling the readiness of herself and her teammates. And StellO with the pull. Sticking with match D. And a deep shot goes up immediately. Melvin is underneath, but a tiny bit too far.
StellO definitely sticking their defenders on Melvin, expecting that deep strike from her now.
It is crazy though that she still gets open because she did have a step or two on her defender. And the disc is pushed down to the ground. Low release from Comenda. O'Mahony, a floaty backhand. Again, not a bad look, She saw Veriker.
Looked like she was just kind of putting it up into space there and letting one of her own teammates run onto it, which is not a bad strategy, especially onto the break side where the defenders are standing on the opposite side, obviously. So if you can manage to get a high release break up and let one of your own offense run onto it, it can sometimes be a good shot.
Comenda, of Polish descent, finds the up line. Now they take it around to Gubinek, which, as a nice Slavic name, should definitely be pronounced Kubinets.
I'll let you tell her that then.
Oh, and the Irish get the D, and an overhead throw is collected in the end zone. Incredible stuff. That's what we not see. Spicy. Who was that with the score?
That was McMorrow, actually a dear friend of mine from Canada. She lived in Canada for 6 years before moving back to Ireland just a couple years ago during COVID with her husband. And she's actually got 2 little ones now.
Lovely. I think that's a 3rd goal for her there. We'll see that on the replay.
And that was actually double happiness is what we call that, or bookends.
That's right.
For McMorrow, as she had the D there and the score.
Kwan with the assist. Look at that. A nice little basket made out of her own arms. That's where the baby carrying practice comes in handy. Baby or a disc, you love both equally.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to?
No.
The party at the end of the week. It's going to be at King John's Castle.
That's right.
Which is in the westernmost Norman castle in Europe and was built around 1210.
1210. Yeah, sounds more like a time than a year.
We don't even have buildings that old in Canada, so
That's right. That's
be
right.
a cool place to have a party for sure.
It will be cool, but I'm afraid it will also be cold. After all, you know, it's a medieval castle, and it's just basically a lot of stone, cold stone. So not the worst pull, again. And as the 5-minute mark approaches, you can of course see the time on your screens as well and follow yourself. The Canadians find themselves on offense again. One of the last chances for the Irish to force a break out of StellO, who rely on their quick handler movement and steady skills of Boulanger, Ryu, and Vachon. StellO stuck on the sideline a little bit. They don't want to go backwards because it's upwind. Boulanger again doesn't lose her patience and finds Sparks
Nice
right
find.
on the sideline. And this is a nice one. It's high. Oh, and it floats right over the intended receiver. That is unfortunate. Polowick was wide open in the end zone, and that was actually a really nice straight pass. But the last second, the wind just picked it up and threw it over her head. So a great chance for the Irish. Myrna with a pickup. They will really have to work extra hard. Ryan is kind of open, but it is far for Myrna. She eventually finds Mahoney, sorry. Oh, and a run through heads up D by Polowick. Canadians go the other way almost immediately. Irish quick to set up with the zone. But StellO knocking on the doorstep. Again, lots of wind. I'm sure you can hear it on the mic as well. Good catch by Vachon. Working with Boulanger. Yep, they will go backwards once again. Very good, steady offense. We really see them getting low every time. Lots of focus on each throw, lots of spin. You can see the concentration dripping from their jerseys together with the Irish rain. Boulanger goes for the around. Oh, and here is the quick pass through the cup, but no continuation. Zhao will call a foul. I think Suleimani tried to get there a bit sooner, but it ended up being a foul. Very steady work, very good stuff from the handlers. Really focused, and I think the teams just know that this is what the conditions are going to look like. And here's the score. I really liked StellO really focusing on learning how to work with these conditions rather than relying on a chance or on luck, because they know they will be in these conditions throughout the week most of the time. So it's better to start early, getting used to them and working with them.
Yeah,
So-
they're really showing their experience out on the field, looking for those smart passes, waiting for the right opportunity to get it through the cup rather than just trying to force something over the top or force something through that's not quite there. So we're seeing a lot of that experience that's coming out on those teams right now, making those really smart decisions, reading the disc so well. And even from the sideline here from the booth, we can see the concentrated expressions on all of their faces when they're throwing, really tightening their wrist to get that that spin on the disc for those smooth, crisp passes. Certainly needed in this wind and rain.
So I believe the time is up, at least on our little scoreboard. StellO currently up 11-8 over Masterclass, the Irish Masters women's team. So we are surely nearing the end of this opening game of the World Masters Club Ultimate Championship here in Limerick. Leahy will pick up for Masterclass. She has a wide open McKee, but goes to Melvin instead. Usually a deep threat. Oh, and here's a wobble on the catch. Disc out of hands of Masterclass. And the Canadians could seal the deal. Green goes up line for Comenda. Centering the disc to Dunbar. She gets the disc again. Comenda. Upline to Dunbar. Canadians very close. Green now. Looks for Comenda. Finds her. Few more passes and the game could be over. Green trying to get open. And Comenda with a slice through the break side. And that was to Vachon, I believe, with the score. And that's another break for StellO. 12-8 over Masterclass.
That lefty IO backhand just inside to that break side, so dangerous in this kind of condition. It's so hard sometimes for players to get that same kind of snap with their flick. Of course, with this kind of experience, we're seeing that execution quite well as well, but that snap with the backhand, a little IO, very well executed there. Nice way to finish off the game.
So we are slightly unsure if there will be one more point played out or whether this is indeed the end of the opening game. But as I see
the game advisors kind of checking in, it does look like there's players taking the pitch one more time.
Yay, lucky you, lucky fans, one more point. So probably a last chance for Masterclass to show us that they can score upwind as well. They did it once already in this game. So one more chance. We have Kwan, we have Myrna, we have Melvin, we have Leahy, staples of the Irish offense. Veriker. And Laura McMorrow. On the Canadian side, that's Green with the pull. Now, that would be a thing of beauty if it didn't go 5 centimeters out of bounds. So Myrna will take it to the brick mark.
Yeah, if it goes out of bounds on the pull, you're allowed to center the disc to the middle of the field. Whereas during gameplay, if it goes out of bounds, it has to come in on the sideline where it went.
So a big break to Melvin will be brought back as a pick is called on the field. A little discussion where the players will return. Myrna goes to Lee. Big throw to Kwan, goes over her head. Dunbar. Disc slides right off her fingers and out of bounds. Really a gift for the Irish to try one more time. Upwind.
But they are stuck in that corner. That's the hardest corner to get out of right now on this field. That's exactly where the wind is blowing into.
That's right. But if anything, it's good practice. The more you get into these situations, the easier the easier it gets, or the more practice you get. Oh, this one was also a good look, but Dunbar knew about it and got there on time.
She's had a lot of good reads this game, just managing to get in the way slightly of the disc and pull that down on defense.
That's right. Brown wants to get it to the break side, but this was what looked like a hand block by McMorrow, but a foul will be called. In fairness, Brown did not do much pivoting on that throw, but it's coming in on 0, so the foul was uncontested, so indeed the players agreed. Dunbar with a stretched out grab goes for the break side to green, and that's a score for StellO, and I believe this will finish the game. StellO really making their mark in the last minutes of the game, finishing strong, 13-8. Troy, any last remarks on the first game of our World Championship?
Well, I think that this is certainly, we're probably going to see a lot of this kind of playing this weekend, a lot of those quick short passes as the rain and the wind are probably going to be sticking around for the week here in Ireland, although I'm told as a Canadian this is fairly typical Irish weather, so this is what we should have expected when coming on over here. Nevertheless, it was a fun game to watch, a lot of great chances, lots of great plays, some great defense, and it'll give everyone a good chance to practice their disc reading skills in this wind.
That's right. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for watching, for commenting, for engaging. We really have so much more content coming to you throughout this week. More games to be streamed today, even more pitches later in the week. Please do stay with us. Do come back for more. My name is Rachel Doshnirova, and I was here with
Troy.
Troy.